Quick question. Have you ever caught yourself using thought leadership and content marketing like they mean the same thing? Don't worry, you're not alone. Maybe your team is cranking out content on a regular schedule, but if you're being honest, it's not really building authority. And at the same time, everyone keeps telling you that you need thought leadership, but nobody's explaining how that actually connects back to revenue. So you end up stuck in this weird middle ground. You're publishing, but you're not standing out. You're active, but you're not actually influencing anybody. And here's where it gets tricky. Over time, that gap starts to show. You start blending in with everybody else in your space. Same topics, same angles, same helpful content that sounds exactly like what your competitors are putting out. But nothing that actually makes someone stop and go, I never thought about it that way. Sound familiar? Okay, good. Because in this video, we're gonna clear up the difference between thought leadership and content marketing. And more importantly, I'm gonna show you how to use both of them together in a way that actually drives growth. Not just visibility, not just engagement, real business outcomes. Because here's the thing, these aren't competing strategies. They're different tools. And once you understand how they work together, everything clicks into place. Hi, I'm Corey and I run production here at Thought Marketing Agency. What we do is help founders and executive teams take what they already know, their expertise, their experience, and turn it into structured authority. And then we connect that authority to pipeline, partnerships, and real opportunities. This is literally the challenge we work on every single day. So let's dig in. Okay, so here's what we're gonna cover. First, I'll break down what content marketing actually is in plain, practical terms. Then we'll talk about what real thought leadership looks like. And just as importantly, what it's not. From there, I'll walk you through 7 key differences so you can clearly separate the two. And finally, we'll get into how you use both together as a system, not as random, disconnected tactics. Oh, and stick around because at the end, I'll give you a simple way to figure out which one you should be leaning into right now based on where you are in your business today. And hey, if you want a quick checklist you can use to audit your current content and see whether it's actually thought leadership or just content marketing, there's a link in the description. You can run it against your last 10 pieces and get clarity right away. All right, let's get into it. Let's start here, because this is where most confusion lives. Thought leadership and content marketing are not competitors. They're different tools, and when you treat them like they're interchangeable, you end up doing both badly. Here's the simplest way to put it. Thought leadership changes how people think. Content marketing helps people take action. One shapes perception and the other captures demand. And what happens with most companies is they lean way too hard into one side, usually content marketing, because it feels more measurable. You can see clicks and leads and conversions, but without thought leadership behind it, your content doesn't have an edge. It's just useful. And useful is great, but useful alone doesn't win. So let's talk about content marketing first. Content marketing is practical. It's built to help someone solve a problem or take one step forward. Think about the stuff you already see every day. Blog posts answering specific questions, landing pages explaining how something works, case studies showing results, email sequences that nurture leads, and webinars walking someone through a process. All of that's valuable, and the goal behind it's pretty straightforward. Attract attention, capture demand, educate the buyer, and support the sale. Content marketing works best when demand already exists. Someone's out there searching, comparing, evaluating their options, and your content helps them choose you. That's why it's so effective for pipeline. But here's the catch. Content marketing doesn't create the conversation. It enters a conversation that's already happening. Thought leadership does something totally different. It creates a conversation, introduces a new way of thinking about a problem. At its core, thought leadership is a clear point of view backed by evidence delivered consistently over time. And this is important. It's not neutral. It takes a stance. It might challenge a common assumption. It might reframe a problem people didn't even know they had. It might introduce a completely new framework or model. For example, instead of here's 5 ways to improve your marketing, thought leadership says something more like most companies are solving the wrong problem entirely, and here's why. See the difference? That's a completely different level of conversation, and that's what builds authority, because people don't remember helpful content, they remember perspective. Okay, so let's break this down side by side. Here are 7 ways these two approaches are fundamentally different. Number 1, thought leadership builds influence. Content marketing drives pipeline. If your goal is to be known, to be the name people think of, you need thought leadership. If your goal is to convert existing demand, you need content marketing. And honestly, most companies need both. Number 2, thought leadership lives higher up in the funnel. It shapes how people define the problem in the first place. Content marketing supports the full funnel from awareness all the way to decision. Here's the thing though, if thought leadership doesn't exist, your funnel starts too late. You're entering the game after the rules have already been set by someone else. Okay, number 3, thought leadership is opinionated. It has conviction. It says, we believe this, and here's why. Content marketing is helpful. It's designed to reduce friction and make things easier. So here's a quick gut check. If everything you post sounds neutral and safe, you're probably missing the leadership piece. Number 4, thought leadership leads with ideas, not offers. Content marketing can directly connect to your product or service, and that's fine. But if every single piece of content you put out points straight back to what you're selling, you start losing credibility, and people can feel it. Number 5, both use proof, but in different ways. Thought leadership uses evidence to support a perspective, to build belief, whereas content marketing uses evidence to support a recommendation, to help someone make a decision. And number 6, this is a big one. Thought leadership compounds, builds slowly, but deeply. It's a long game. And content marketing gives you faster signals, traffic, leads, conversions, and this is where a lot of people trip up. If you expect the thought leadership to perform like content marketing on a weekly dashboard, you're going to abandon it way too early. Number 7, thought leadership shows up in things like better conversation, inbound opportunities, higher quality meetings, and speaking invitations. Content marketing shows up in traffic, conversion rates, and pipeline. Different signals, different timelines, and that's okay, but you just need to know what to look for each one. There are certain moments where thought leadership really needs to take the lead, like when you're entering a new market, or repositioning your brand, or selling at a premium, or when trust is a barrier and people need a reason to believe in you before they'll even consider buying, or when your leadership team just isn't visible anymore. Here's the simplest test. If you can't clearly articulate what you believe in and what you stand for, start here, because without that, everything else just blends in. On the flip side, content marketing should lead when you need predictable pipeline, when you're capturing demand that's already out there, when you're launching something new, or when your sales team needs better tools to work with. This is where structure, consistency, and coverage really matter. Okay, this is the part most companies miss, and honestly, it's the most important part. Think of it this way. Thought leadership is your ideas engine. Content marketing is your distribution and conversion engine. One creates insight, the other scales it. Here's what it looks like in practice. You start with one strong point of view, that becomes a pillar piece, and then you break it out into everything else. LinkedIn posts, short videos, a webinar, a landing page, email sequence, even a sales asset your team can use in conversations. Now, you're not just creating random content and hoping something sticks. You're building a system, one idea, multiple entry points. And that's how authority actually turns into pipeline. For thought leadership, ask yourself, are better conversations happening? Am I attracting the right people? Are opportunities starting to come to me instead of me chasing them? For content marketing, am I generating traffic? Are leads converting? Is the pipeline moving? And one thing I want to flag, thought leadership often shows up in quality before it shows up in attribution. You'll feel it in the conversations before you see it in the dashboard. Don't let that throw you off. Before we wrap up, let me flag a few traps I see all the time. Calling generic content thought leadership just because a founder wrote it. Turning every idea into a product pitch, chasing volume at the expense of originality, measuring too early, or worse, only measuring vanity metrics like impressions and likes. These are the things that keep companies busy, but not effective. So here's the bottom line. Thought leadership and content marketing aren't interchangeable, but when you use them together intentionally as a system, they create something very powerful. You build authority, and then you turn the authority into real business growth. If you want help designing that system, from defining your point of view to building the content and distribution engine around it, reach out to us at Thought Marketing Agency and schedule a strategy call. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.